You are watching Macro TV, and we are busy with Chapter 4 in Fourie and Burger. We now have an ISLM BP model, and we're going to use it to analyze policy changes or shocks or disturbances and the influence that has on the macro economy. Now we have this little recipe of how you can analyze such changes and its impact. It's set up in 5 steps. Step 1 is the primary effect of whatever initial change occurs, and then there's also a secondary effect that we learned about in Chapter 3. Step 3 is a summary of these first 2 steps, just telling us after step 1 and 2, where are we at in terms of equilibrium between the real, monetary, and foreign sectors. Then step 4 and step 5, these are balance of payments adjustment processes, and they happen via the money supply and via the exchange rate. And we'll do applications of all of this for 6 examples of disturbances in the macroeconomy. In this video, we're focusing on an increase in the repo rate, and we have a little video that comes from the textbook resources. Now, we start off with the primary effect, where there's an increase in the repo rate, and you can see what happens initially. We also talk about the secondary effect, and I'll explain both of these in a little bit more detail in a moment. Both the primary and the secondary effect leads to the initial change in the LM curve. In this case, the LM moving towards the left. And I'm going to pause it there for a moment. So the primary effect is an increase in the repo rate, which we know leads to a decrease in the money supply and an increase in interest rates. When interest rates are higher, investment is lower, total spending declines, and there's a reduction of incomes, the Y. Now, what we see here is that is the left movement of the LM curve. So interest rates are higher, they've increased from R0 to R1, and incomes have declined from Y0 to Y1. Now, in terms of the balance of payments, we know that when there's an increase in interest rate, it means that there's a capital inflow and a surplus on the financial account. In addition, the decline in the income that we see from Y0 to Y1 also means a decline in imports, which means that there's a surplus on the current account. So at this new equilibrium point between LM1 and IS0, we have a surplus on the balance of payments. The secondary effect is a decline in incomes also implies a decline in the demand for money, which reduces the upward pressure on interest rates and arrests the decline in both investment and in imports. And the decline in income is also limited. So the capital inflows then stop and the downswing stops at this point. So that puts us at the equilibrium R1, Y1. Now, at this point, we are at a point to the left and above the BP curve, which we know is a surplus. And now we need to have a look at the balance of payments adjustment process. It takes place in 2 steps, via the money supply and via the exchange rate. So let's show the money supply adjustment. So there's a money supply effect, and it's important to take account of this because it's this money supply effect that leads to a move in the LM curve again. There you can see it moving, and we can pause it there for a moment. So following the initial shift in the LM, the fact that the balance of payments is in surplus means that there's an inflow of forex, but that means the money supply increases, which pushes down interest rates. And now that interest rates are lower, investment increases a bit and incomes increase. So that's the movement to the right along IS0. So as the incomes increase, imports will start to increase, which means that the surplus on the current account is now a bit smaller. The reduction in the interest rates from R1 to R2 means that the surplus on the financial account is also a bit smaller. So at this intermediate equilibrium, where you have an interest rate of R2 and an income of Y2, we still have a surplus on the balance of payments. We're still at a point above the BP0, but it's smaller than it was. Now, this triggers the concluding exchange rate adjustment. I'll show that in a moment. There we go. So the exchange rate effect then leads to a further adjustment. So when there's a surplus on the balance of payments, the rand appreciates. That means that exports decline and imports go up, and that reduces the surplus on the current account. It also means that that decline in exports and increase in imports means that total expenditure is less and incomes contract. That means the IS curve then moves towards the right, while at the same time the IS curve moves towards the left, apologies, and at the same time the BP curve also moves towards the left. And the end result is a new equilibrium at an interest rate of R3 and an income of Y3. Now, the same graph is also in the book without the animations, and you can see this adjustment process from the equilibrium 0, the initial change, to equilibrium 1, where you find the new equilibrium but with the balance of payments in surplus. Then the temporary equilibrium in between, where you have the money supply effect pushing the LM curve back towards the right again and reducing that surplus on the balance of payments already. Then moving from point 2 to equilibrium 3 is the balance of payments adjustment via the exchange rate. And that is the leftward shift of the IS as well as the shift of the BP curve to re-establish equilibrium at R3 and Y3. Now, an increase in the repo rate means it's contractionary monetary policy. The Reserve Bank puts the brakes on the economy to cause a contraction. Interest rates go up and output or incomes are reduced. Now, we typically ask this as a explain with the aid of a diagram question. So you need to be able to draw this and explain all the changes in all detail.